Is the financial collapse truly here? Is what the economists saying on the news true? That there's going to be a soft landing, no recession? Or are we heading for a massive crash that could radically transform our financial system, your family's timeline? And the fact is that you may not be able to retire if you don't start to make changes. So in today's video, we're going to break down the facts, figures, numbers, logic so you can make an informed financial education decision on how to get your house in order during these times. My name is Coach JB. What I work to do is make complex macro and microeconomic strategies very simple so the normal everyday person like you and I can understand it. So we're not just listening to somebody in a suit on the news telling you, hey, everything's good to go in the economy when you look at your bank account and it doesn't look that way. When you look at your credit card and it's max and it doesn't look that way. And you start to look at your job and they're about to lay people off. And then when you're at home with no job, and no plan and no financial education to rewire the foundation, that's a problem. But that's what I'm here to do. So the first resource I have for you guys, I have two free resources. And at the end of this video, I'm going to share with you every single time, repetitively, exactly what I'm doing. I don't know if it'll work for you, but it's worked for me and over 7,000 warriors worldwide. So I developed a guide. It's the 16-page Warriors Financial Guide to Freedom. It's the exact steps that I followed going from completely broke, rewiring the foundation to end up in a different situation, which is financial freedom. Okay. So this guide is in the description of this video or in my social media platform. Click the link and it'll be one of the links there. I also have another resource for you, which is a free consultation with my insurance team. I have licensed insurance agents in all 50 states. I'm a licensed insurance agent. I have my Freedom Insurance team. And we basically teach people tax code 7702, how we secure our principal as the markets come collapsing down, and we compound and retire tax free. It's a very powerful strategy on how the wealthy maintain their wealth. Remember, insurance is tier one capital. It's at the bottom of a risk pyramid. If insurance collapses, you better be ready for a zombie apocalypse. So that's how we secure, compound, and grow our wealth. And it's people call it the infinity banking concept. Your bankers aren't going to teach you this. They're going to teach you, sell you life insurance, but they don't teach you how to insure your wealth. Now, it's a form of life insurance, but it's very important how the policies are set up. So same thing in the description of this video or in my social media platform, you can set up a free consultation with my Index Universal Life team to have a conversation to see where you're at with your retirement goals. If you're worried about your 401k, or if you have any old 401ks that you want to take a look at, we can help you secure and compound that. Okay, so let's dive right into this. So I'm going to break down the narrative, the facts, figures, numbers, logic, and help us understand what's happening. Now, I'm not a professional economist. What I am is a professionally trained banker. I was in banking system for going on 10, almost 11 years. I graduated CBA Executive Banking School, and I am a serial entrepreneur. So I have equity in multiple companies. I'm the CEO of multiple companies, and I've gotten the shit kicked out of me financially, and that's how I learned my lessons. So I learned the economy through hard knocks. I learned macro microeconomics through hard knocks, and I learned to not do what the 99% are doing. By the time you hear it on the news, it's a narrative that has you look this way so you don't understand what's happening this way. The 1% will always stay the 1% until you understand how currency flows through the system. There's a reason why it's called currency. Okay, so first we're going to talk about the savings, then we're going to talk about America's debt, then we're going to talk about America specifically and where we're at financially. They're telling you there's going to be a soft landing. We're good to go. We'll be fine. But we're going to put ourselves into the personal perspective. If we were America, what would happen to us at the end of this video? Okay. So we're looking at the right here is the US personal savings rate. This is how much US people in the US are saving. So you see a spike over here. If you look at November 2022, remember, where did this spike come, guys? We had a bunch of stimulus coming in, boom. And so people's savings started to go up because the economy started to change a little bit and interest rates started to go up. So people are like, oh shit, we need to start saving. And when interest rates start going up, remember, money becomes more palatable or more attractive, or cash becomes more attractive because you're getting more money on your cash. Okay. So when interest rates go up, it makes it more attractive to hold cash, or especially American dollars, because you get a higher yield. And so what that does is it sucks liquidity out of the capital markets, which we saw the market pull back in 2022 in crypto, stock market. And then you see savings rates start to go up. Now what's happening, what I want you guys to see as we go over here is as we went into these high interest rates, which I told you guys in June 2022 that these high interest rates are going to start to destroy the economy. Well, here we are. July, you started to see the tipping point. Okay. I said Q3, Q4, 2023, we're going to see everything start to pull back. what you're starting to see is the normal everyday Americans savings are starting to drain and drain and drain. And so what they're doing is they're moving onto their credit cards. Okay. So American credit card debt, this was on August 8th, 2023. American credit card debt hit a record $1 trillion. Now, something that I researched, do your research, but I think there's still 3.9 trillion in um access to capital. So basically there's 1 trillion in debt, but consumers have about 3.9 trillion access to debt. So that means there's open revolving credit lines, if that makes sense. Okay. And so what that means is we have some room to tap into the debt, but that's not a good thing because if you go back here, there's nothing to pay it back, guys. Your salaries aren't going up. People are going to get laid off if you don't have money in your savings to pay it. So there'll be a tipping point where Americans start to tip where they're going to have to go bankrupt, just like America. Okay. So this is a total outstanding credit card balances since 1999. You're going to see right here where it starts to come down and then boom, it started to skyrocket in Q2. You see this right here. Q1, this is where I told you guys it was going to start to transfer in Q3, 2023. And you start to see 2022 here. This was when the interest rates went up. And then 2023, Q2, you started to see credit card balances start to stack up, which lines up with the savings. Okay. Savings are starting to drain. Interest rates are high. It's very expensive. People have variable rates. Their credit cards, everything's more expensive, basically, right? Rent went up 20 to 30%. So now people are like, shit, I don't have any money in my savings account. I need to start putting it on my credit card. But what happens is when that is all tapped out, where do you go, guys? Where do you go at that point? Companies are going through the same exact thing right now, guys. Money was so cheap for so long that basically companies are now trying, they had a total, you had to have a totally different model when, let me just explain it from a CEO and my CFO's perspective. When money is cheap, when you can borrow at 2 to 3%, sometimes 1%, right? And depending on what you got, you're getting home loans for 2%, 2.5, 3%. That's cheap money. It's penny on the dollars, right? But when that money becomes expensive, your model has to change. The way that you do your business, you can't just inject cash flow through credit and borrow against your future self anymore. When the bonds inverted as well, it sucked the liquidity out of the bank. So then banks stopped to lend. So banks tighten up lending. Okay, that happened to me. I started a startup business, my beard company. I went to go to the banks to get lending, and we have a great relationship, and they wouldn't lend money. So I had to go to private equity. So that's an example of me moving out of non-traditional. So basically, what we start to do is we start to look for other avenues, and then the savings accounts start to get drained, and then we don't have access to cheap capital. And then what do you do next? Companies have to start to lay people off. Okay, so that's as a consumer. And I want to show you something really quickly. Let me show you this and I'll dive into this slide here. Okay, so housing industry are just piled to stop raising interest rates or risk of an economic hard landing. Okay, so everybody's screaming at the mountaintops, guys. Hey, what is going on? What is going on? But let's take ourselves and let's put ourselves in America's position. Okay, so let's pretend we're America. So this will help us understand. At the end of this, in just a couple minutes, I'm going to share with you exactly what I'm doing, and I'll do that at the end of every video. Okay, so this is on Peter G.'s foundation. So this is the outlook of America, right? So America is at 33 trillion in debt. Okay, it's unbelievable how much debt and how much money they printed over the past 24 months, or excuse me, from 2020 to 2022. They shut off the printing machine in 2023. So to give you an example, 33 trillion is roughly the value of the economies of China, Japan, Germany, India, and United Kingdom combined. So our debt is all these countries combined, and amount adds to 252,000 per household, or $99,000 per person in America. So if your savings are starting to get drained, companies start to lay people off, and these economists are saying, we're not going into recession. How is that even possible? America's at 33 trillion in debt. We have more debt than we have income, and every dollar in the system is someone else's debt. So if the debt can't be serviced, that means someone's income can't be serviced. Okay. If every household in America can contribute $1,000 a month toward paying down the national debt, it would take 21 years. Okay. So it says rising debt can harm our economy and threaten opportunities for everyday Americans. That's what I've been sharing with you guys. 32 trillion in debt is enough to cover public four-year degree for every graduating U.S. high school student for 103 years, to put it in perspective. Within 10 years, the federal government will spend more on interest payments than it traditionally has on research and development, infrastructure, and education combined. So now we're at this weird point. I had it pulled up, the Ray Dalio, where we went from a thriving freedom economy to trapped. So that's what I wanted to show you guys. Okay. But we're still spending nearly 2 billion a day on interest payments. So basically, let's put ourselves in America's position. So we're sitting in our house. We have 120% debt to income ratio. So you have a mortgage, you have a car loan, you have an auto loan, you have a credit card, right? You're making $3,000 a month, but your debt is like 5,600. So you have 5,600 in debt. You're making $3,000 a month. You're negative. And so we're America, right? So we need to go borrow from our parents, right? So we borrow from our parents for a while, then we drain them. They don't have any more money anymore. Okay. Then we go to our grandparents, which is the other country. So America's going to other countries to borrow to pay for critical services. Then we're like, man, we go to our bank to try to raise our debt ceiling. Hey, can you raise my credit limits? They say, absolutely not. We're going to lower your credit score, just like America got their credit downgraded, right? And it's going to be more expensive for you to borrow. And we're actually going to cut down your credit lines because you do not have the ability to service this debt. That's where America's at right now, family. And the thing is, with the difference between you and I and America is that we can't just turn on a printing machine. They can. You can't just turn on a printing machine. So this is where financial education comes in. It is time to start paying yourself first. You should always be the first person to get paid. But what we do is we're indoctrinated to trade time for money. We got two 15-minute breaks, a 30-minute lunch for elementary, which trains you for corporate America. You trade time for money. You get home. You don't have time to pay attention. You don't get financial education. And the first thing you pay is everybody else but yourself. You should always pay yourself first. The first thing you need to do is create a budget. First thing we do in the first week in our Warrior Academy, our 120-day challenge, which you can join as well. So basically, the first week we create a budget. We look to see where all the holes in our spending is. Ever since a debit card came out, we all stopped tracking our spending. My mom still uses a check register. She still tracks her expenses. She's on point all the time. But we stopped doing that. Tap, swipe, iWatch, all this stuff. I pay or Apple Pay, all that stuff, right? So you don't track your expenses. Be honest with yourself. How many of you are tracking your expenses? How much money did you spend on food and energy drinks and coffee yesterday? So number one, create a budget, cut out frivolous spending. You can do it. I did it for 3 years and it radically transformed my life to financial freedom. I buckled down. It changed my life. So number one, cut out frivolous spending. Cut out energy drinks, coffee, make your coffee at home. Okay. Create cash flow. Do you say, hey, I don't have the ability to make more money right now? Create cash flow. I met people at the Ripple event, so honored and amazed. I had a couple come up to me and say, because of your coaching, we actually got rid of one of our cars and we started investing that money. If you have 2 cars, go down to 1. Take that $700 payment, put it in the speculative market like cryptocurrency. Okay. So after you create a budget, now you have cash flow. Once you have cash flow, you can look at different avenues. So number one is I used cryptocurrency, a very speculative asset, to gain a large amount of wealth in a short amount of time. Not get rich quick, but I had a game plan because I got wise counsel. So from there, I developed a cross horizontal strategy, which is diversification. So for me, I use cryptocurrency and I cannot wait for the next bull run because I've been accumulating ever since this dip and I'm going to accumulate more when this market pulls back. And I'm using it. So to me, crypto is funny money, just like the fiat. Fiat is fake. We're taking fake money that's not backed by anything. And then we're putting it into funny money, which is crypto, which is in a quantum system. Now, I believe in a lot of the technologies. I consider them technologies because they're backed. Things like XRP is backed by the company Ripple. Now, we don't own Ripple, but it actually has a technology behind it, right? VeChain is supply chain management. XLM is real-time payments, on-demand liquidity, right? Or transfer of money, excuse me. QNT, the connecting of the system. You got HBAR. These are actually things that I have more belief in because they actually solve a real world problem, right? But it's funny money, guys. It's in the system. So when funny money goes up, when you're coming in, I'm getting out and I secure an insurance. So I actually have my meeting today with the trust team is I'm now going to the next phase of my wealth building is I'm building a trust around my system. I will have a trust insurance policy or that'll be the beneficiary. I already have my legacy policy set up for my family. And then I have a leverage policy. Basically, we set the leverage policy and I'll have everything set up. So within the next 5 years, I'll have a family trust, I'll have a family office, and basically I will start managing it just like the wealthy people do. I use insurance to secure, compound, and grow, to secure my principal. So as you come collapsing down in the capital markets, my principal stays solid, right? And I become my own bank eventually because I can borrow against my own policies if they're set up properly. Very important. Make sure your agent's not trying to maximize their commission. Okay. Number 3, precious metals. Okay. So I'm in silver. I'm going into gold very, very soon. Number 4 is real estate. I am not a real estate expert, single family home, and now I'm moving into multifamily as we go into next year because I need depreciation for the each quarter. I work to increase my earned income every single quarter, and I do that through businesses. Okay, and then I talk now going to business. For business, for me, I use information, technology, and attention. We have a software company. We have an education platform. I have an insurance company. I have a beard company on Amazon, which we just launched. I have did I talk about my insurance company? Freedom Asset Management Group, where we do 506Bs. We have multiple companies out there in information technology and attention where we can do online. And then lastly is self-development. And then it's basically I invest in myself all the time in regards to increasing my education. And the last thing that makes me the richest man in the world is my relationship with God. If all the money went away, if everything collapsed, I'm the richest man in the world because I built a relationship with God. I follow the life of Jesus. I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe in God, and I believe in you. That's the key, is I believe in you and I believe you, because in the beginning is the end. And in the end, you'll find out it's the beginning. It's your decisions, your behavior. There's no savior coming to save you guys. If somebody comes in the physical, Jesus never said he was coming in the physical. You've already been saved. He already fulfilled everything, guys. He already fulfilled the prophecy, man. There's egotistical people that are trying to fulfill biblical prophecy. He already said it was finished. He already told us we win in the end. All you have to do is accept it. And all you have to do is control your thoughts, your actions, and your reactions. I believe we're being lied to. I'm just being honest with you, because the only difference between me 17 years ago as a crackhead with a drug addiction that committed suicide to today, 17 years later, financially free and happy and joyful in the most crazy times in the world, is Christ. That's the only difference, is following his teachings, not being a Christian because I go to church, actually acting like Christ-like, loving God with all my heart, therefore loving humanity as I love God, treating others as I want to be treated, and pulling the log out of my eye before I judge you. Simple 3 things I live by. I teach my kids that, and I've been living that. And the difference between me 17 years ago and that is Christ consciousness, heaving up, energy, frequency, love, authenticity, love, and gratitude. It's not that difficult, family. So it's time to activate on this. It's time to activate. I have all kinds of resources for you in the description of this video. You can join my Warrior Academy, like-minded individuals who helped over 7,000 people since 2020. You can jump in. It's $62 a month. It's a membership, or you can just get my free resources. There's thousands of free videos. We have now the free book that you can download. You can set up a free consultation with my insurance team. I'm trying to provide as many resources as humanly possible so that you can have the financial freedom for your family. But remember, family, freedom is here. Freedom is here. Okay. It's all things and it's no thing. And it is everything that you do. I love you guys. I appreciate you. As we always say, Warriors, rise, get your shit together. Let's go. Love you guys.